for me in a way that's getting some attention and causing some controversy. Mike Memley talked about Vice President Biden criticized him for that, and so he didn't, but he definitely would have.
I'm gonna start this off by coming in with my gamma hitter, creating my first guideline, which is gonna be my bald guide. So now that my bald guideline was created, I'm going to come in with my BABYLISSPRO Foil FX02 and I'm going to completely bald out that guide. However, when I get towards the top of the guideline, I am going to use that flick out motion because I want to demonstrate a nice, clean, smooth transition from completely bald to stubble, because later that's going to help this blend pop. So before I move on to my next step, I'm going to make sure that everything has a nice, clean, even look on both sides. Now that my bald guideline was created, I'm going to come in with my 50 cal with the lever fully open, and I'm going to begin to set and create my next guideline. Alright, so now that I created my guideline with the lever fully open, I'm now going to close my lever and begin to blend from the bottom of this guide right back up towards the top of this guide. And one thing cool about this clipper is it has a notches in place in the lever. So I'm going to go from the first notch to the third notch to fully open, and this guide will be completely blended out. If for some reason there's an area between those that I need to hit, I will hit them to make sure that everything comes together as needed. For those of you following along that don't have notches in your lever system, you're basically going to go from closed to about midway to fully open and blend out anything in between that needs it. Alright, so now that I blended that guide out, I'm now going to come in with my WAHL #1 guard with the lever fully open. and I'm going to begin to set and create my next guideline. I am going to give myself the same amount of space that I gave myself with the previous guide. That way I keep everything consistent with this blend. Alright, so now that my guideline was created with that lever fully open, I'm now going to close my lever and begin to blend from the bottom of this guide right back up towards the top of this guide. And this time I'm going to keep my lever closed, and I'm going to go right up to underneath where I just left off with my lever fully open. So typically the one closed tends to leave weight behind, and right where I just showed you is the weight and the shadow that I see. So I'm going to come in with my WAHL half guard with the lever fully open, and I'm going to begin to attack right above that weight that I see. Again, I'm going to attack right above the weight that I see, and then I'm going to use that fade down process, meaning I'm going to close my lever as needed, working my way down until that guide's completely blended out. Alright, so while we watch me blend out the rest of that guide right there, I wanted to take this time to say shout out to Tito Beats for this fire that you hear in your ear. I'm going to make sure to leave his link in the description, so make sure you tap in. I also wanted to say we're growing, y'all. We're getting really close to that 50K. And a lot of YouTubers like to celebrate 50K, but I think I want to do it a little bit differently and celebrate at 45K. And I want to give away a Tomb 45 power mat with some Tomb 45 power clips to celebrate that 45K. So if that's something you're feeling, I want you to get active in that comment section below using the hashtag Tomb 45 and let me know you're with it. Alright, so now that I got that guideline blended out, I'm going to come in with my WAHL number 2 guard with the lever fully open. And this time I'm not really necessarily looking to set any guideline in. However, I am going to pull off of the head or flick out as you see when I get towards the top, because I don't want to round off this haircut. I'm going to cut the top down to a number 3. So again, I'm trying to pull out as I get towards the top of that. So once I clean everything up with my lever fully open, just like the previous guide, I'm going to close my lever and begin to blend from the bottom of that guide right back up towards the top of it. So I'm going to take that number 2 close right up to underneath where I just left off with that number 2 fully open. Alright, so my number 2 closed, it left some weight behind, and right where I just showed you, that's the weight that I'm noticing. But I also need to take into consideration is my client's head shape. He doesn't have the perfect head shape, and he has some indentations, so that can cast some shadows. And when you cast shadows, it tends to look like the hair wasn't cut evenly. So anytime you run into this type of obstacle, you are going to have to go a little above and beyond, and that's okay because clients really appreciate that. So what I'm doing is I'm coming in with my WAHL 1.5 guard with the lever fully open, and I'm attacking right above the weight that I see. Again, I'm attacking right above the weight that I see, and then I'm going to close my lever as needed, working my way down until this guide's completely blended out. Alright, so now that I'm comfortable with the way my blend's coming together, I'm going to go ahead and knock the top down to his desired length, which is going to be a number 3 with the lever closed, and that's going to cut right into that number 2 with that lever fully open that we just finished off with. So right here, I'm just going to make sure that I cut everything nice, clean, and evenly. So now that his blend's looking blurry, I got everything cut down on top to the desired length. I'm going to begin to do my finish work. So I'm going to start off by cleaning up his lineup area. And what you see me doing now is I'm applying a hold spray. Basically, it's a hairspray. It's going to keep all those little baby hairs that you see me combing neatly in place, so I'm able to give him a nice, clean, sharp lineup. So here I am, I'm beginning his lineup. I always like to start in the center of his head and work my way to his weakest point first. And he doesn't have really a weak lineup. I mean, he doesn't have the greatest of one, but he doesn't have a weak one. And I just took what he already had in place, kept it very natural but sharp at the same time. Alright, so here's a look at the final cut. If you got anything useful out this, I ask that you smash that like button. If you're new to my channel, I suggest you stick around. It's only gonna get doper from here. I appreciate y'all. Be blessed and be a blessing. I'm out.